Hello, welcome to my channel. My name is Lana Labonte, and I am here to support, uplift, inspire, and hopefully that empowers you to be the best version of yourself that you were meant to be. So, today we're going to be reading The Invitation by Oriah Mountain Dreamer. If you've never heard of this book, this is going to be a treat. So, experience the challenge that is changing lives everywhere. It doesn't interest me what you do for a living. I want to know what you ache for, and if you dare to dream of meeting your heart's longing. It doesn't interest me how old you are. I want to know if you will risk looking like a fool for love, for your dream, for the adventure of being alive. The Invitation. Let us begin, shall we? Just a little intro off the cover. The invitation is a declaration of intent, a map into the longing of the soul, the desire to live passionately, face to face with ourselves and skin to skin with the world around us. Shared by word of mouth, quoted on the World Wide Web, recited over the radio, and read aloud at spiritual conventions, conferences, and other gatherings. The invitation has been passed along by thousands who have discovered and treasured its unique message. Now Oriah Mountain Dreamer expands on her beloved prose poem, presenting a powerful and inspirational challenge to all of us who long for true intimacy and joy. Speaking from the heart, Oriah Mountain Dreamer invites us to confront the varieties of human experience, from desire and commitment to sorrow and betrayal, and challenges us to open repeatedly to love in life. Unique, practical, and often surprising, the invitation is an invaluable guide to living the ecstasy of everyday life, learning to recognize true beauty in ourselves and the world, and finding the sustenance our spirit longs for. Has it piqued your interest yet? So, as we begin, it doesn't interest me what you do for a living. I want to know what you ache for, and if you dare to dream of meeting your heart's longings. It doesn't interest me how old you are. I want to know if you will risk looking like a fool for love, for your dream, for the adventure of being alive. It doesn't interest me what planets are squaring your moon. I want to know if you have touched the center of your own sorrow, if you have been opened by life's betrayals or have become shriveled and closed from fear of further pain. I want to know if you can sit with pain, mine or your own, without moving to hide it or fade it or fix it. I want to know if you can be with joy, mine or your own, if you can dance with wildness and let the ecstasy fill you to the tips of your fingers and toes without cautioning us to be careful, to be realistic, to remember the limitations of being human. It doesn't interest me if the story you are telling me is true. I want to know if you can disappoint another to be true to yourself, if you can bear the accusation of betrayal and not betray your own soul, if you can be faithless and therefore trustworthy. I want to know if you can see beauty even when it's not pretty every day, and if you can source your own life from its presence. I want to know if you can live with failure, yours and mine, and still stand on the edge of the lake and shout to the silver of the full moon, yes. It doesn't interest me to know where you live or how much money you have. I want to know if you can get up after the night of grief and despair, weary and bruised to the bone, and do what needs to be done to feed the children. It doesn't interest me who you know or how you came to be here. I want to know if you will stand in the center of the fire with me and not shrink back. It doesn't interest me where or what or with whom you have studied. I want to know what sustains you from the inside when all else falls away. I want to know if you can be alone with yourself and if you truly like the company you keep in the empty moments. Chapter 1, Accepting the Invitation. Once in a while, we are given moments of real grace. Sometimes during my early morning meditation, a place within me opens and parts of myself let go that I did not even know were holding on. In these moments, I feel all the hard places in my heart and body yield to a great softness carried on my breath, and I am filled with compassion for the part of me that is always trying, always organizing, problem-solving, anticipating, and my mind stops and simply follows my breath. A great faith washes through me, a knowing that everything that needs to get done will get done. My shoulders drop an inch, the small but familiar ache in my chest eases, and the moment stretches. There is enough time, enough energy, enough of all that is needed. A great tenderness for myself and the world opens inside me. And I know I belong to this time, to these people, to this earth, and to something that is both within and larger than all of it. Something that sustains and holds us all. I do not want to be anywhere else. I am filled with commitment to and compassion for myself and the world. Rising from my cushion, I move unhurriedly toward my day. As I step into the bathroom, I catch a glimpse of the quiet half-smile on my face dissolving into a grimace of disgust as cold water soaks through my clean white socks. All semblance of graceful ease shatters in the shrill cry of the banshee as I survey the aftermath of my teenage son's showers. Pools of water on the tile floor, several wet towels in a heap in the corner, others twisted onto towel racks in configurations that could not possibly dry before the end of the millennium, the shower curtain half in, half out of the tub, bunched and folded to maximize the growth of mildew and mold. Later, after cleaning up, my younger son Nathan speaks to me as I sit in the kitchen with the cup of hot tea. "I know we shouldn't leave the bathroom such a mess, Mom," he says, cautiously trying to sound reasonable. "But I think leaving wet towels on the floor is probably pretty normal behavior for teenage boys. Not that we should do it," he adds hurriedly, as I pierce him with a look over the rim of my cup. "But if that's the worst thing we do, you really don't have too much to worry about, do you?" I can't help but laugh. He is right, of course. This is the reality we live, aspiring to be at our best, longing for and sometimes finding meaning and connection within ourselves and with that which is larger than ourselves. We are undone by messy bathrooms, traffic jams, and burnt toast. I am not interested in a spirituality that cannot encompass my humanness. I find little comfort or guidance in traditional dogma or unqualified New Age optimism. Because beneath the small daily trials are harder paradoxes, things the mind cannot reconcile but the heart must hold if we are to live fully. Profound tiredness and radical hope, shattered beliefs and relentless faith, the seemingly contradictory longings for personal freedom and a deep commitment to others, for solitude and intimacy, for the ability to simply be with the world, and the need to change what we know is not right about how we are living. The invitation is a declaration of intent, a map into the longing of the soul. The desire to live passionately, face to face with ourselves and skin to skin with the world around us, to settle for nothing less than what is real. This book is a journey into the territory mapped out by the invitation. If we are to traverse this territory together, there are some things you should know. Because simply saying yes to the invitation, feeling the pull of the heart or the quickening of the blood that urges movement forward, is not the same thing as actually making the journey. I want to live with deep intimacy every day of my life. I am guided, sometimes driven by an ache to take the necessary risks that will let me live close to what is within and around me. And I am sometimes afraid that it will be too much, that I will not have or be connected to whatever it takes to be with it all, to bear the exquisite beauty and bone-wrenching sorrow of being fully alive. Knowing how frightening both the beauty and the pain can be, I offer you here, at the beginning of this journey, 3 promises that are simultaneously 3 warnings. First, the places foreshadowed in the invitation are not metaphorical, they are actual. When I say that I want you to know if you can get up after the night of grief and despair, weary and bruised to the bone, and do what needs to be done to feed the children, I don't mean I want to know if you have good intentions or if you can afford to pay someone else to care for those who need your attention. I want to know if you can really get up when nothing in you wants to do anything but stay beneath the covers. I want to know if you can do the small, mundane, but necessary tasks. If you can give what is needed when you feel you have nothing left to give. When I ask if you can be alone with yourself, I am not asking if the idea of being alone appeals to you, but if you can actually be present with yourself for longer than a couple of hours without flipping on the TV or the radio or picking up the telephone or a magazine. If you can truly find and be at peace with your own company. The first warning, then, is also the first promise. If this book succeeds in actually taking you into the territory of the invitation, you will experience, not just read about, the ache, the sorrow, the joy, the courage, the peace. The personal stories I share here are not important in themselves. We all have thousands of stories, and my life has had no more or fewer than others. But stories carefully chosen and shaped by both the teller and the listener can open gateways into our interior landscape, can reveal the meaning in our lives enfolded in the details and unfolding in their telling and conscious contemplation. I promise that I will not pretend to know something I have not experienced, nor will I try to increase our comfort with each other by feigning confusion where I have knowledge. This then leads to the second warning and promise. The consequences of moments of deep intimacy with yourself, another, or the world are completely unpredictable. When we learn how to truly be present with our joy and our sorrow, with our longing and our desires, layer upon layer of ourselves and the world are revealed. We cannot know in advance what this revelation will look like or what action will inspire or compel us to take. I have watched participants at workshops I have facilitated circle a moment of anticipated intimacy with their own desires, catch the scent of portended change in the wind, and turn and flee the very thing they came seeking, a deeper connection with self and spirit, for fear of what it would call upon them to do in their lives. If we have based parts of our lives on lies or truths that no longer hold, however well-intentioned or unconscious, the changes that deep intimacy evokes can look very dangerous. We cannot tell in advance which aspects of our carefully constructed sense of self, if any, will survive. This is the good news and the bad. If you take the journey, real change is possible and inevitable, and from the present vantage point, completely unpredictable. The third warning holds yet another promise. No part of the journey is wasted. Once you recognize within yourself a hunger for something beyond just continuing, once you taste even the possibility of touching the meaning unfolding in your life, you can never be completely content with just going through the motions. There is no going back. Learning cannot be undone. The wisdom touched in moments of real intimacy penetrates the soul with knowledge of who and what we are. It transforms us. I cannot promise that the journey will always be easy. Opening ourselves to living intimately with the world is not a selective process. If we refuse to touch the places of sorrow or confusion within ourselves or others, we cannot cultivate the ability to be completely present in our moments of joy and ecstasy. But if we are open to sorrow as well as joy, we can expand our ability to hold ourselves and the world in our own hearts. I know we can do this because I have experienced and have seen in others the ability to go into and embrace each of the places of intimacy invoked by the invitation. I can tell you that it is possible to feel pain without moving to hide it or fade it or fix it, to dance with joy and feel the ecstasy completely, to live with failure, to see beauty, to stand in the center of the fire. I have lived each of these without regret, and my experiences have given me a great faith in the human spirit. My experiences have rebirthed within me an infinite tenderness for the courage of the human heart, mine and yours, that will stand up again and again and expand to hold all that matters, even when doing so seems to the human mind unbearable or simply impossible. We can do this, and when we do it together, it is easier. When I was giving birth to my first son, my partner, who was as inexperienced and overwhelmed as I was by the intensity of 16 hours of labor, tried to reassure me that everything was progressing as it should, that I was fine. Caught between the fear of what was still to come and the pain of the moment, I was not at my best. How would you know? I snapped at him, and we both looked to the midwife. When she assured us that everything was fine and reminded us both to breathe, we listened. She knew. She had been there many times before. It was her knowledge, born of experience, that we trusted. We will give birth here to deeper intimacy with our lives and our world. I am the midwife who has attended many births and borne children herself. When it is hard, I will remind you of what you already know, that you can do this, that the courage to go deeper is found by letting your desire grow larger than your fear, that strength is found in your longing to live fully, your willingness to settle for nothing less. I will not leave you suspended in the places that may be difficult, but will move you through to the places where breathing comes more easily, periodically offering prayers and meditations you can use to rest and renew your body and heart. We are not alone as we struggle to open fully to life. When I am able to live with real intimacy, when I pay attention to each moment and do not shrink away from what is true, I experience a presence that is not mine alone, that holds me even as I hold the moment. This presence, this great mystery, known by so many different names, God, Spirit, Allah, the Great Mother, lifts me, fills me with the vast silence and a sharp taste of the interconnectedness of all life. I have faith in this mystery and the many ways in which it sustains us. Before we begin this journey together, you have the right to know what motivates me, why I seek to live intimately with my own life and the world. The most truthful answer to this is the simplest, because I have to. I am compelled by some deep hunger of the soul, driven by a desire that will not leave me alone to live life to the fullest. And I know this does not mean working endlessly, accomplishing the most, or consuming the greatest amount and variety of things and experiences. It means tasting each mouthful, feeling each breath, listening to each song, being awake and aware of each moment as it unfolds. Living fully in the present does not mean disregarding the consequences of our actions for the future. If we in the West, where so much of the world's political and economical power resides, are going to find a way to make the changes that are necessary to ensure that our children's children can live on this planet, we have to learn how to participate fully in our own lives, how to remember and experience the interconnectedness of all spirit and matter. I seek wisdom in a life that combines contemplation and action. Real contemplation, truly being with the joys and sorrows of my own heart and the world moves me to action by awareness and fueled by a passion for life. There are no deals being offered here. You cannot trade the courage needed to live every moment for immunity from life's sorrows. We may say we know this, but ours is the culture of the deal-making mind. From infancy, we have breathed in the belief that there is always a deal to be made, a bargain to be struck. Eventually, we believe if we do the right thing, if we are good enough, clever enough, sincere enough, work hard enough, we will be rewarded. There are different verses to this song. If you are sorry for your sins and try hard not to sin again, you will go to heaven. If you do your daily practice, clean up your diet, heal your inner child, ferret out all your emotional issues, focus your intent, come into alignment with the world around you, hone your affirmations, find and listen to the voice of your higher self, you will be rewarded with vibrant health, abundant prosperity, loving relations, and inner peace. In other words, heaven. We know that what we do and how we think affect the quality of our lives. Many things are clearly up to us, and many others are not. I can see no evidence that the universe works on a simple meritocratic system of cause and effect. Bad things do happen to good people all the time. Monetary success does come to some who do what they do not love, as well as to some who are unwilling or unable to see the harm they do to the planet or others. Illness and misfortune come to some who follow their soul's desires. Many great artists have been poor. Great teachers have lived in obscurity. My invitation, my challenge to you here is to journey into a deeper intimacy with the world and your life without any promise of safety or guarantee of reward beyond the intrinsic value of full participation. To help us along this path, I have offered meditations at the end of each chapter. These meditations are not prescriptions that will fix what is hard or unhappy in our lives and in our world, but they have helped me and those I have worked with to expand and to live more intimately with ourselves and the world. They can be read slowly into a tape recorder and played back or followed while a friend reads them aloud to you. Life lived intimately may not be easier, but it is fuller, richer, and much more open to everything. The confusion and the insight, the excitement and the boredom, the shadow and the light. And somehow expanding my ability to simply be with it all does make what is hard easier to bear, allows me to give and receive more in each moment. More often than not, it simply helps me find my sense of humor when I'm taking myself too seriously. To laugh at how easily the wonderful serenity of the meditative moment can be shattered by the mundane sensation of cold water soaking my socks. I wrote the invitation late one night after returning home from a party. I was unsettled, disappointed with an evening that had been full of the usual social conversation. Restless, I sat down at my desk in the darkness and listened to the sounds around me gradually diminish and the city settled into sleep. There in the quiet, with the street lamp casting a pale light into the room, I picked up my pen and wrote what I really wanted to say to the people I had met that evening, patterning on a writing exercise I had learned at a David White workshop. When I was finished, I sat in the half light and read the words aloud to the sleeping city. I heard my longing to be fully with others, and in the silence that followed, I heard the voice of the world I sometimes think I hear late at night, begging me to remember this longing. When I imagine myself as an old woman at the end of my life, and I ask myself how I will evaluate my time here, there is only one question that concerns me. Did I love well? There are 1,000 ways to love other people in the world, with our touch, our words, our silences, our work, our presence. I want to love well. This is my hunger. I want to make love to the world by the way I live in it, by the way I am with myself and others every day. So I seek to increase my ability to be with the truth in each moment, to be with what I know, the sweet and the bitter. I want to stay aware of the vastness of what I do not know. This is what brings me to the journey. I do not want to live any other way. And sometimes I allow myself to imagine that each moment in which we love well by simply being all of who we are and being fully present allows us to give back something essential to the sacred mystery that sustains all life. And so we have the first meditation, meditation for beginners. I will timestamp the meditation in the comments in the description so you can go back individually and listen for yourself. Meditation for beginnings. Sit or lie down in a comfortable position and bring your attention to your breathing. Follow the breath as it enters and leaves your body, letting your muscles let go with each exhalation. Do this for 12 breaths, just following the rising and falling of your body with each breath. Inhaling through the nose, exhale out the mouth. Now, let yourself focus on one thing you want to do that is not currently part of your life. Let it be something specific and concrete, and imagine in detail what it would look like, feel like. It may be meditating or exercising daily, learning something new, or doing something creative. Dancing, painting, writing, singing, or simply being more patient with those you love. Pick something that has meaning for you. See yourself beginning this activity. Imagine the state of mind, body, and emotions ideally required to begin. How do you want to feel? How do you want to be feeling mentally, emotionally, and physically when you start? Imagine yourself as you ideally want to be to begin. Stay with this for a few breaths. Now, be aware of how you are feeling mentally, emotionally, and physically at this moment. Feel the gap, if there is one, between where you want to be as you begin living this aspect of your life and where you are. Imagine two selves, one feeling as you would ideally like to feel to begin, and the other just as you are, perhaps more tired, less inspired, less calm, or more distracted than you want to be. Let your attention follow your inhalation and your exhalation, and take a few moments to feel without judgment the gap between where you are and where you want to be, or think you should be, to begin. Now, imagine yourself beginning what you originally wanted to do, starting from the place you are right now. See yourself doing it, meditating, exercising, being more patient with someone you love, learning something, doing something creative, just the way you are, perhaps a little tired or distracted or agitated or uninspired. Do not pull away from the way you are feeling. Let yourself relax into how things are and imagine doing what you want to do, perhaps not as perfectly, not as ideally as you first imagined it, but doing it anyway. Let go with each exhalation. Let yourself feel exactly how you are feeling. Give yourself permission to begin from here. And that concludes Chapter 1. Tune in for the next chapter.